Oswald Levett was born in 1908 as the son of David and Ernestine Levett, and studied law in Vienna, becoming a court interpreter for up to 6 languages, those being French, English, Portuguese, Russian, Italian, and Spanish. In 1933, he joined the Catholic Church and changed his surname from Levett to Levett. He cooperated and was apparently friends with Leo Perutz, and in 1933 published his first novel, XXIII, a story of a man living in 1906 who gets sent back in time to 1632, where he gets to experience the latter half of the 30 Years' War. 2 years later, he published his only other novel, our subject today, Papilio Mariposa. Not being able to remain a lawyer after 1938 due to racial discriminatory laws passed on in Nazi Germany, he emigrated to Belgium, organizing activities to help Jews in Germany from Brussels. He was, however, arrested in 1940 in Brussels and sent to the death camps, being apparently killed within a few days of being deported to the Mali Trostinets death camp. To return to the examination of his novel, following an opening scene in Venice, what appears to be a second living winged lion causes mass disturbance. We cut back several years in time. During World War I, the protagonist, a lawyer at military court by trade, is assigned to the case, relatively minor but with a guaranteed death penalty, of Naftali Margenschens, a fantastically ugly Jew. The protagonist, actually trying to defend his client at court, ruffles some feathers, and he's on the verge of being disciplined or worse for this offense, quote-unquote, before the sudden turn of the war results in the whole thing being forgotten and pushed under the rug, and Margenschens ending up just sitting behind bars until the end of his term. Some years after the war, Margenschens looks up said lawyer in order to help him manage a very sizable inheritance. During the course of his professional meetings, he meets up with the lawyer and his fiancée, who is very disturbed having to be seen in company with this ugly man. He in turn falls in love with her, and she laughs him off to his face. He soon changes his name to Papilio Mariposa, builds himself a secret laboratory, and starts to grow giant butterflies. But then he begins to experiment on himself, and turns himself into a gigantic, man-eating butterfly with an Adonis-like face, and eventually gets hunted down by the military. The novel's only shortcomings are its brevity and the fact that it takes a considerable time for any of the more fantastic stuff to actually start happening. A fun piece of trivia to note is that during the course of the novel, the main male protagonist faints at least 3 times, reminding one of the heroines of Anne Radcliffe. It is a crying shame that a man with such an imagination would have to be so senselessly killed for no fault of his own, and we were thus deprived of the further fruits of his labour and imagination. I have not read XXIII, but mean to, and will report on how I found it once I do. Now, Papilio Mariposa was only reissued physically in 1 edition since the initial publication, in 1989. However, an online version of the novel can be found on the Spiegel Gutenberg version of the website, where it is available to be read completely for free, if you know how to read German.